Imagine walking through freshly fallen snow and finding a village that should be alive, completely silent. No smoke rising from chimneys, no footprints leading away, no bodies, no signs of struggle, just empty homes, cold fires, meals left half-eaten, and the unbearable feeling that everyone vanished at the exact same moment. This is the story of Angikuni Lake, one of the most unsettling disappearance legends ever whispered in Canadian history. A story so strange, so eerie, that even today, people argue whether it was real, exaggerated, or deliberately erased. Because if even half of this story is true, then something happened in the frozen wilderness of northern Canada that we still don't have the words to explain.
In every corner of history, there are stories no one was meant to find. Moments erased, twisted, or buried so deep that only fragments remain. But every mystery leaves a footprint. Every disappearance leaves a shadow. Every unsolved case leaves a file. Here, we open those files. We follow the trails others abandoned. We reconstruct final moments no one witnessed. We look into the places where logic breaks and the truth hides in the dark. Because behind every legend, behind every scream in the night, behind every person who vanished without a trace, there is always something unseen. Welcome to the Unseen File, where the lost speak and the shadows have a story.
It begins in the early 1930s, deep in the remote tundra of what is now Nunavut, a place so isolated that silence feels louder than sound. Endless snowfields stretch to the horizon, broken only by dark spruce trees and frozen lakes that look like black mirrors beneath the ice. In this unforgiving land lived a small Inuit settlement near Angikuni Lake, a village known only to trappers, traders, and the people who called it home. Life there was harsh but steady. Families hunted caribou and trapped foxes. Children learned early how to survive winter temperatures that could kill an unprepared adult in minutes. At night, the village glowed with firelight, laughter, and the quiet rhythms of survival. Nothing about Angikuni was remarkable, and that's exactly what makes its disappearance so terrifying. In November of 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle was traveling his usual route across the frozen terrain. He had made this journey countless times before. Angikuni Lake was a familiar stop, a place to rest, trade, share stories, and warm up before continuing on. As he approached the village that night, something immediately felt wrong. There were no lights, no dogs barking, no voices carrying across the ice. In a place where human presence was rare, a village was impossible to miss, and yet Angikuni felt dead. Joe assumed the villagers were asleep or sheltering from the cold. Still, unease crept in as he walked between the huts. He knocked on doors. No answer. He pushed one open. Inside, he found a table set for a meal that had never been finished. Food sat frozen solid, untouched. A pot still rested on the stove, long cold. Fur clothing hung neatly on walls, essential gear no Inuit family would ever abandon in winter. Joe moved from hut to hut. Every home told the same story. People had been there recently and then suddenly weren't. Panic began to set in. He checked the storage areas, full. He checked hunting supplies, left behind. He even found rifles, items of extreme value, still in place. No sign of theft, no sign of violence, no sign of evacuation. Then he went outside to look for tracks. There were none. No footprints leading away, no sled marks, no trails in the snow. It was as if the village had been lifted off the earth. As night fell and temperatures dropped, Joe did something trappers almost never did. He ran. He fled across the frozen landscape for over 30 miles to the nearest trading post, driven by a fear he couldn't explain. When he arrived, shaken and pale, he told authorities what he'd seen. At first, they didn't believe him. Villages didn't just disappear. But when a search party was organized and sent to Angikuni Lake, what they found only deepened the mystery. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrived to confirm the reports. They searched every building. Everything matched Joe's story. No people, no bodies, no signs of struggle. But the most disturbing discovery came from the graveyard. The village cemetery had been disturbed. Graves were reportedly opened, not dug up violently, but carefully. The stones displaced, the soil shifted, and the bodies gone. Who digs up graves in the frozen Arctic, and why? The investigators were baffled. There were no signs of animals scavenging, no tools left behind, no reason, cultural, practical, or spiritual, that made sense. Then came reports that made the story even stranger. Some witnesses in nearby regions claimed to have seen strange lights in the sky around the same time the village vanished. Blue-white orbs moving silently over the tundra, lights that didn't behave like stars or planes. Others spoke of husky dogs found dead near the abandoned village, reportedly starved to death, still tied to their posts. This detail is especially haunting because Inuit communities rely heavily on sled dogs. No one would ever leave them behind alive. If the villagers fled, why leave the dogs? If they were taken, why not take the animals too? As word spread, theories exploded. Some believed the villagers had fallen victim to a sudden natural disaster, perhaps thin ice, an avalanche, or extreme weather. But the geography didn't support it, and again, where were the tracks? Others suggested a mass migration, but Inuit migrations are planned, slow, and leave clear signs. Supplies are packed, equipment is taken, trails are formed. Nothing like that existed here. Then came darker theories. Some whispered of a deadly disease, something so fast and terrifying that people fled instantly. But no signs of illness were found, no bodies, no burial preparations. Another theory pointed to famine, yet food supplies were full. Robbery or violence? No blood, no damage, no chaos. And then, inevitably, the strangest explanations emerged. Some said the village was taken by extraterrestrials, abducted in a single night, lifted silently into the sky. The strange lights, the untouched homes, the opened graves, all fit too neatly for those already looking upward for answers. Others spoke of something older, something tied to Inuit folklore, stories of spirits that roam the tundra, of beings that lure entire communities away into the snow, never to be seen again. Legends passed down quietly, never spoken aloud during winter nights. There are Inuit tales of the Tornit, powerful, mysterious beings who lived in the Arctic before humans, larger, stronger, and capable of vanishing without a trace. Most anthropologists dismiss these stories as myth, but in the context of Angikuni, some wonder if ancient stories exist for a reason. Still, skeptics argue that the Angikuni story itself may have been exaggerated over time. Records are frustratingly unclear. Some historians claim official RCMP documents don't mention such an event. Others say reports were lost, minimized, or intentionally buried to prevent panic. Joe LaBelle himself reportedly stood by his story until his death. So what really happened? One possibility is that Angikuni wasn't a single dramatic event, but a gradual abandonment that later became condensed into a legend. Maybe the villagers relocated due to changing resources or trade routes. Maybe stories merged. Maybe details grew sharper with each retelling. But that explanation struggles against the consistency of certain details: the frozen meals, a lack of tracks, the disturbed graves. And even if the event was embellished, why has no definitive explanation ever surfaced? Why does Angikuni remain unresolved nearly a century later? Remote regions hide their secrets well. In places where winter erases footprints within hours and snow can bury entire histories, truth becomes fragile. A few missing documents, a few lost witnesses, and suddenly a mystery becomes permanent. What makes Angikuni so unsettling isn't just the disappearance, it's the silence that followed. No survivors ever came forward, no descendants claimed ancestry, no relocation records were found. An entire community seemingly blinked out of existence. And maybe that's the real horror. Not monsters, not aliens, not conspiracies, but the idea that human lives, entire families, cultures, stories can vanish without leaving a mark. That somewhere in the frozen north, the wind still moves through empty ground where voices once echoed. That the lake reflects the sky the same way it did that night, indifferent to what was lost. Today, Angikuni Lake remains a quiet, isolated place. No signs mark where the village once stood. No memorials, no explanations, just snow, ice, and unanswered questions. And if you ever find yourself alone in a place like that, where the silence feels too complete, you might understand why this story refuses to die. Because some mysteries don't want to be solved, they just want to be remembered. And whatever happened at Angikuni Lake, it left behind one chilling truth. Sometimes people don't disappear with a scream. Sometimes they disappear without a sound.